Good morning, children. Today we are going to discuss about another important concept, that is body fluids and circulation. The most important thing is how the helpful for the circulation system, helpful for the transportation of nutrients and minerals, enzymes and hormones. That one we are going to discuss. Okay. So observe very carefully. This is the most important concept, most important chapter. The body fluids and circulation. It is a helpful for the board point of view, at the same time need point of view. Very useful chapter, right? Okay. What is importance of what is the body fluids and circulation chapter? In this chapter, what we will be discuss. That is the first point. In this chapter, we will be discuss about how the circulation system helpful for the transportation of nutrients and oxygen to cells. So, most important thing is whatever the food we are eating, that absorbed nutrients and which one we are taking the oxygen that should have to reach the cells. How? That is because of the body fluids and circulation system. And also the cells involved in the metabolic reactions produce the waste. That waste also should have to remove from the cells from to body. So that CO2 and waste products also through the circulation system will go to the excretory organs, to it will go outside. So like that, the important materials to cells, waste materials from cells to excretory organs, the everything is transferring by the help of the circulation system, right? So different groups of animals have different methods of transport. Different group of animals have the different methods of transportation. This is important. So how these different methods will be there, different types of animals in the sense. For example, you see invertebrates, sponges and coelentrates, proper circulatory system not at all there. Then how they will be? So they are simple, the exchange of substances only by the through the simple diffusion. That's it, high concentration to low concentration. So taking and leaving out from the through the cell surface. That is be the in the sponges and coelentrates. There is no proper circulatory system. Only through the diffusion, the exchange of the things and movement of nutrients will be takes place in the body. So that is one of the important things. What about the most complex organisms? Use special fluids. This is important. From here onwards, you have to concentrate. The special fluids and what you called well organized transport system. A special fluids in the complex organisms, what are there? A special fluids and well organized transport system is there within their body to transport the what you called to transport such materials by bulk flow. Okay, bulk flow or connecting transport with the pumps. There will be pump system is there, like what you call heart, how that will be pumps the blood, like that pumping pumps are there. So the phenomenon of bulk flow is fundamental to many physiological process. So pumping is very physiological process like respiration, digestion, excretion. Okay, this is a very important. Bulk flow will be through the pumps, means some pipes are there like the tubes. So even respiration also, digestion also, excretion also. So next important, very important thing is the bulk flow of fluids can transport substance a long distance faster than by diffusion. The bulk flow will be transport the materials to long distance compared with the simple diffusion very fast. Come to the very fast. Human circulatory system can circulate a milliliter of blood. A milliliter of the blood, how much? A milliliter of the blood, 60 seconds from heart to feet. You believe or not, human heart or pumps system, milliliter of blood from heart to feet, just 60 seconds. So 60 years which may be needed if there be diffusion. Suppose if this is this six what I call 1 milliliter of blood should have to transfer from heart to feet through diffusion, in the sense that will be takes how much? 60 years. But here how much? The pumps bulk flow through the 60 seconds. So pumps are, or bulk flow pumps are very useful for the transportation of materials. Within our body, very important, listen, oxygen and carbon dioxide are exchanged into the lungs and tissues. So oxygen and carbon dioxide exchange from lungs to tissues, tissues to lungs through the circulatory system. And the next important, the digestive system, whereas the nutrients from the digestive system, okay, digestive system to carried out to the liver, digestive system to liver, so liver to body parts, right, liver to tissues, everything will be go through the circulatory system only, okay, and remove the waste also removed to the transport to the kidneys through the circulatory system only. Why these all things should order circulate from one part to another part, one organ to another organ, means to maintain which one? Homeostasis. Circulation system helpful to maintain what? Homeostasis, balance of in our body fluids, of the body fluids and the body temperature. Circulatory system help to maintain what? Helps to maintain body fluids and body temperature, homeostasis of the body fluids and body temperature. So next, even the circulatory system supplies the metals from heart to brain also. Okay, maintain the homeostasis of the body fluids from body temperature. The homeostat regulation of the cardiovascular system maintains the, okay, flow, blood flow from heart to brain. Cardiovascular system helpful for the circulation of blood from heart to brain. This is a very important point to remember. So next, another important one. So fainting. In fainting, signals from the nervous system causes a sudden decrease in the blood pressure. What you called, so suppose some problems are there, what you called sudden fainting will be there or not. What is the reason fainting? Sudden decrease of blood pressure leads to fainting. Okay, so that all the things we will discuss, some problems related to the circulatory system also we will discuss in this chapter. So come to our body fluids. What are the body fluids in our body? So there is a tissue fluids. The body fluids consist of water and substances dissolved in them. Mainly water is there in our body fluids. There are two types of body fluids, intracellular fluid and inside the cells, and the extracellular fluid presents outside the cells. There are two types of cells, inside the cells and outside the cells. Intracellular fluids and extracellular fluids are there. The three types of extracellular fluids are the, so extracellular fluids are there. Number one, the interstitial fluid, lymph, tissue fluid surround of the cells. Then plasma, fluid component of the blood and lymph. This is a very important. Interstitial fluid, tissue fluid surround the cells, plasma, fluid component of the blood, and another one is lymph. So these are all the things you should have to remember. The blood flowing into the capillary from arterioles has a high hydrostatic pressure. The blood flowing to the capillaries by the high hydrostatic pressure. This is important. This pressure is brought about by pumping action of the blood, and it tends to force water and small molecules out through the permeable walls of the capillaries. So very forcefully it will enter into the tissues, pumping of the heart. So then what will happen? The volume of fluid which leaves the capillary to form tissue fluid. So volume of the fluid which leaves the capillary to form tissue fluid is the result of two pressure, hydrostatic pressure and oncotic pressure. So there will be hydrostatic pressure is there, high oncotic pressures will be applied in the capillaries, which is enough to push fluid into the tissue. So blood capillaries to, the blood is going to tissues in the sense by the help of which one? Hydrostatic pressure and oncotic pressure. So the tissue fluid is low concentration of protein than that of plasma. The tissue fluid is there in the sense very low concentration is there in the proteins. So all the venous end of the capillary bed, the water potential is greater than the hydrostatic pressure. So in the capillaries, what will be there? The water potential is greater than the, which one? The hydrostatic pressure, and then fluid from the tissues flow into the capillaries and water is drawn back into the blood. So fluid will be going to the tissues and water will be go back to the blood. So taking with the waste products produced by the cells. So what I am telling is this hydrostatic pressure and oncotic pressure supplies the fluid to the tissues, and whatever, because of too much pressure, whatever the tissues is there in the water is there in the sense, that will be come back to the blood because of this much pressure. So that is important. Once again I am telling this point, you should remember the volume of fluid which leaves the capillary to form tissue fluid is a result of two pressures. How the tissue fluid capillaries to fluid will form on a tissue fluid, how that will be, but is hydrostatic pressure and oncotic pressure. At the anterior end of capillary bed, the water potential is lesser than the hydrostatic pressure inside the capillary bed, which is enough to push fluid into the tissues. Hydrostatic pressure is less compared with the tissues. Then what will happen? The fluid will be enter into the tissue. The tissue fluid is low concentration of protein than that of plasma. So tissue fluid is low concentration than that of the plasma. As a venous end of the capillary bed, the water potential is greater than the hydrostatic pressure, and the fluid from the tissues flow into the blood. So blood is because of this pressure, the fluid from tissues to into the blood, it will be go back. So taking with waste products and produced by the cells. These all the things you should have to remember. Okay, so most important thing is because of this hydrostatic pressure and oncotic pressure, the fluids are reaching the tissues and the tissue fluids are coming out because of this pressures only. You have to remember. Next, composition of the blood. Blood is the fluid connecting tissue. What is the blood? Blood is fluid connecting tissue. The blood consists of different components in the blood. So that transports the substances from one part of the body to other part. So body fluid that transports substances from where? From one part of the body part to another part of the body. Blood is a connecting fluid tissue. You know very well. Blood is a connecting fluid tissue consisting of plasma, fluid matrix and formed elements. What's the meaning of formed elements? RBC, WBC, platelets. There is 55% of total blood is there. Okay. The plasma occupies which one? 55% of total blood. And what about 45%? Remaining formed elements occupies the 45%. There are 5 lakhs. Okay, 5 liters, not 5 lakhs, 5 liters of the blood in the adult. Those average weight is 70 kgs. So 5 liters of the blood will be there in the adults. Next, another important one, plasma. What about the plasma? Plasma is a mainly fluid content in the blood. So plasma consists of 80 to 90% water. The plasma consists of how much? 80 to 92% plasma, the water. Okay, and plasma proteins also there. In the plasma proteins also there, and inorganic constituents 0.9%, organic constituents 0.1%. okay, the respiratory gases and plasma proteins, albumins, globulins. Okay, what's the function of albumins and globulins? Albumins and globulins maintains the osmotic pressures. Okay, globulins facilitate the transport of ions. Okay, like that the albumins and globulins maintains the osmotic pressure. What about the prothrombin and fibrinogen involved in the blood clotting? And organic constituents including urea, amino acids, what you called glucose, fats and vitamins, and the inorganic constituents includes chlorides, carbonates and phosphates of potassium. Okay, sodium, calcium, magnesium. The composition of plasma is not always constant. So like this, different components are there in the plasma. Once again should listen carefully, children. So body fluids and circulation. This is a very important. Our chapter name is body fluids and circulation. New chapter. What's the importance of this chapter? It supplies the nutrients, oxygen to cells, and has to remove the waste, carbon dioxide waste products from the cells to external. Supplies to excretory organs. From there to they will go outside. So there are different groups of animals have different methods of transport system. Number one, sponges and ciliates no circulatory system, they have diffusion. The complex organisms use specialized fluids and well organized transport system within their body to transport such materials by bulk flow pumps. So respiration, digestion, excretion, everything bulk flow only. And the simple diffusion is a very important process in the bulk flow. So human circulatory system can 1 ml of blood, 1 milliliter of blood, 60 seconds will move from, in 16 seconds, within 60 seconds, 1 milliliter of blood will move from heart to feet. But if a simple diffusion means 60 years it will take to move from heart to feet, that 1 milliliter of blood. So that much powerful our circulatory system. So oxygen, carbon dioxide is moving from lungs to tissues, tissues to lungs. Exchange is going on or not? That is because of circulatory system. And the food whatever you are taking, that is going to liver, liver to body parts because of circulatory system. The waste which is generating from tissues and organs and that reaching the kidneys because of circulatory system. Like that, so many mechanisms, so many main important functions will performed by the circulatory system. Next, to the circulatory system maintain the homeostasis of the body fluids. Homeostasis means what? Maintains the balance. Okay, maintains the balance of body fluids and body temperatures. Maintains the body fluids balance in our body fluids and body temperature with this circulatory system. So even the supply will be the supply of nutrients, minerals from heart to brain also possible by this circulatory system. Our bulk flow pumping systems. So body fluids in our circulatory system, there are two types of body fluids are there. Internal body fluids, intracellular fluid and extracellular fluid. What is the meaning of intracellular and extracellular fluid? Which is present inside of the body in the sense, that is called intracellular fluid. The fluid which is present outside of the cell in the sense, that is called extracellular fluid. So the extracellular fluids are divided into tissue fluids. Tissue fluid means surrounding of the cells. Tissue fluid means what? Surrounding of the cells. Plasma, the fluid component of the blood, and lymph also outside of the cells only. The blood flowing in the capillaries from arteriole has a high hydrostatic pressure. Okay, blood is moving from arteriole to capillaries with high hydrostatic pressure and oncotic pressure. These two pressures helpful for the fluid to reach the tissues, and because of this too much pressure also, whatever the tissues have the waste, that will go to the veins. Even water also will come out to the blood. The waste, whichever the tissue have the waste, that will be go out to the blood. So that much pressure, hydrostatic pressure and oncotic pressure, helpful for the reaching of fluids to tissues, and whatever the waste is in the tissues in the form of water, in the mixed with water, and will come into the veins. Now composition of the blood. The plasma, blood is the fluid connecting tissue. First, the blood consists of plasma and formed elements. The 55% of the in the total blood, 55% is the what do you call plasma, 45% is cells. So what are the cells formed elements? RBC, WBC, platelets, like that. So adult 70 kgs, adult person who weight 70 kgs, who have that fellow have 5 liters of the blood in their total body. Plasma, water 80 to 90%. The plasma, if you see, the water content of the plasma is 80 to 90%, major part. And also plasma consists of plasma proteins, inorganic constituents, calcium, magnesium, zinc, okay, like that. Organic constituents, even proteins, carbohydrates, okay, sugars, like that. 1% respiratory gases, oxygen, carbon dioxide, like that. Plasma proteins, albumins and globulins. Albumins and globulins function what? Albumins function what? Albumins helpful for the osmotic pressure. Globulins helpful for what? What is the function of globulins? Globulins facilitate the transport of ions, hormones, lipids. Globulins helpful for the transportation of ions, okay, lipids, like that. Prothrombin and fibrinogen. What's the use of prothrombin and fibrinogen? Prothrombin is a very, very important. Fibrinogen is important for the clotting of the blood. That point you should have to remember. And also the plasma consists of, most important point I'm telling, the plasma consists of organic constituents and inorganic constituents. The organic and inorganic is also very useful for that. Even heparin, okay, fibrinogen, prothrombin, albumins, globulins, enzymes, hormones, like that. Different components are there in the plasma. These all are helpful for the transportation of material. So plasma is a very important. So that's why major part of the plasma is 80 to 90% water only. So remaining all very helpful for the our body functioning. So these are the important points about body fluids and circulation. Tomorrow we will be discuss completely about the plasma and formed elements, RBC, WBC, like that each and every formed element clear picture we will be discussing in the tomorrow's class.